It's 4 o'clock on a Monday, and you know what that means, don't you? It's time for another exciting episode of Taxi TV Live. Woohoo! This week, starring special guest star, Mr. Michael Lloyd. Yeah, baby. Woo-hoo. And thank you, fake band. Thank you, fake audience. Welcome, Michael. How are you?
Hi, what was the name again?
He just walked in the door about 40 seconds ago. Traffic. We're glad to have him back. Unfortunately, he can only stick around for an hour today.
Yeah,
so maybe even less. Okay, so when he leaves, then maybe we'll just do some Q&A. Because next week, we're going to... The camera's over there. Next week, we're going to be on hiatus for 1 week. And then we'll be back again.
You have a summer replacement?
No, I don't. And next week, or the week after that, we're going to be back doing a split screen remote with Tony Van Veen from Disc Makers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Are there still people that actually make discs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, absolutely. They bought CD Baby some years ago and then grew that into a giant thing and then just sold that off recently. And vinyl is back, baby. Vinyl's actually growing.
Vinyl, okay, but CD Baby.
Well, CD Baby is not part of that.
I know. It's just, but that's just online anyway, so it's all good.
Anyway, so for those of you who didn't see the email, I should say hello to our guest, which I will do right after I read Michael's resume. Michael Lloyd, this dude right here, aside from being a very long-time friend of mine and a close friend, was Vice President of A&R for MGM Records by the age of 20 years old. Think about that. What were you doing at 20 years old? This guy was vice president of a record label. For more than 45 years, has been producing hit records and soundtracks, earning more than 105 Gold and Platinum Record Awards and selling over 150 million records. He personally stood on a street corner, one at a time, selling those babies, cash only. He's worked with Barry Manilow, Mike Love and the Beach Boys, Lou Rawls, Sylvie Vartan, Shaun Cassidy, Steve Holy, Belinda Carlisle, the Monkees, the Bellamy Brothers, the Osmonds, Stryper, which I can never figure out, Sammy Davis Jr., Bill Medley, the Righteous Brothers, Debby, Boone, Kimberley, Locke, Leif, Garrett, Air Supply, Frank Sinatra, and that's just to name a few.
And Sugar Ray out right now.
Oh, and Sugar Ray, which is out right now. What's the name of the record? Do you know?
It's called Yachty.
Yachty.
Yachty. Why? I don't ask me why.
Well, because...
I don't know why.
Clearly it's a first cousin of the Yeti.
Exactly.
Michael is the music supervisor for the film Dirty Dancing. Wrote the Latin dance music for Patrick and Jennifer to dance to and produced the Dirty Dancing soundtrack. Currently, there are several Dirty Dancing, the musical companies out touring all over the world. He's done scoring, he's done music supervision, he's done songwriting, song placements, and or producing for nearly 200 motion pictures, TV movies, TV specials, and television series. His chart record spans 6 decades from the 60s to the present. He's also recipient of Taxi's Lifetime Achievement Award. Mr. Michael Lloyd. Oh, that was just a smattering of applause. Let's have it. The real thing. There we go.
Yeah, that certainly it makes you feel better.
I bet. All right, and welcome to the guys and gals.
Hi there.
Yeah, we've got Peter Rahill, Ann House, Gabriel Osuna. Oh, it's going by so quickly.
Hi, guys.
Shalom. New names. Makamuro.
Devin Walker. You don't know Stryper? Yeah, he doesn't know Stryper. I know Stryper.
No, I know who they are. I'm just surprised you work with them. They seem like they're out of your ballywick.
Oh, no.
Sherry Marcus and House.
It's music.
Bone,
you know what I mean? It's music.
Andy Pierce, Cass McKenty.
Peter, Tom, Sherry, Steve, Bob, David, Cody. Hi, Cody. Paul, Square
Bob
Business
Gunnerfeld,
Entertainment. Tomboy Noise.
Yeah. So, Eddie, I have a question about the
this.
Stryper record when you did it. Was it hard going? Because, you're like Mr. Pop or pop rock, and all of a sudden you're working with Stryper.
No. They're a melodic rock and roll band. I mean, incredible singers.
But just
great.
Different. Different sound than what you normally worked on,
Sometimes you things happen, you just don't meet them.
Right.
And I was grateful and fortunate to work with Stryper. They were great. Every one of them. Just great. A whole nother way of recording.
Right. That's what I mean. It just...
You know what I mean? The method of recording.
Yeah.
It was all drum. I mean, everybody back in the 80s recorded this way.
Yeah.
You know, Poison and Motley Crue.
Live in the room?
No, you do the drums first.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You do the drums
Frankensteined
first.
it.
Oh, but that's all because you couldn't get the sound.
Yeah.
Everybody playing at once.
Right. Too much bleed.
Yeah. So drums first. That took like 2 weeks. Just drums. And back then also there were triggers on drums.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't samples. It triggered samples, but you had a big rack of stuff. Oh man, it went on and on. That was at Old Cherokee.
Oh,
We did
wow.
the drums. And that was the old MGM studio that I built. So I always loved that place. And the Robb brothers made it a better studio than I did.
Shirelli did a lot of work at Cherokee. I'm not
Did he?
sure.
It's a great place.
Yeah,
anyway,
love that place.
Then guitar, like kind of the jump guitar. 4 guitars. You do one, then you double it, then you slow the machine down a little bit, play it again, speed the machine up a little bit, play it again 4 times.
And did you have like, I can't remember who the guy was, but I once did
Michael Sweet singing.
somebody where the guy had like 6 Marshall cabinets. And I put a 57 on one of them and an 87 back about 6 feet and another
Years
87.
ago in the 60s, I recorded Quicksilver Messenger Service.
Yeah.
And the guy comes in with, I don't know, like 10 amps and a big horn and all this. And he takes like an hour or 2 hours to plug it all in. And, you know, the console only had, I don't know, maybe had 15, 16 microphones at the most. And so, you know, I started off by putting, like you just were saying, put up 1 microphone or 2 or something.
Yeah.
Well, what about this? We've got to mic this. You know, it was nutty. Oh my gosh, it was crazy.
It's so hard to capture that kind of power in a room.
But that's not the sound anyway, because you honestly, you'd need to capture it with 1 mic or 2 mics back a little ways.
Right.
Because if you're just right up on it, that's not the sound that it's creating. You're hearing the sound here, you know, from a little bit of a distance. Right. And you want to hear all of that collectively.
Yeah, and you're feeling it. It moves a lot of air.
Yeah, it's really something. But anyway.
So before I forget, I'm going to ask you guys, and we're getting on with the show, to hit that subscribe button down there.
Oh, look at that.
Right down there in the corner. Share with your friends and family members.
Wow.
Hit that alert button in the upper right-hand corner, because then you'll get alerts when we go live. And don't forget to like us, because we're extremely insecure. Thank you very much. Okay.
I need to take that like thing with me all the time and just
hold it up in traffic.
Whenever I meet people, I go.
There's one that's got a middle finger sticking up. I think that would be great in LA or any city. It's got traffic in it. Just.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Okay.
So what we're doing today, Michael is a little bit kind of famous at the Road Rally for being extremely generous with his time and his knowledge in listening to people's music and giving them feedback. And
some of you guys may have come to that upstairs room if you've come to the Road Rally,
the 200-seat
to the little
mezzanine.
theater upstairs, and we spend, you know, a few hours there listening to people's songs. So that's what we're, I think, going to try and do here for a little while.
So Michael's got a boogie a little bit before 5 o'clock, and then maybe.
But I'll see you at the Road Rally.
We can do taxi trivia. That's right, November 7th through the 10th here in beautiful Los Angeles. If you're a taxi member, you get 2 free tickets to the Road Rally. One for you, one for the guest of your choice. A lot of people bring their spouses with them, and surprisingly, the spouses who are usually not music-related people find that they really enjoy the crowd at the Road Rally.
Yeah,
they feel
great.
very at home there, even though you would think that they would be bored out of their brain because it's not their topic. So there you go. Where's my list? So first thing, we're not going to mention the names of the artists. We're just going to do song titles, just in case. And we don't want to hurt anybody's feeling.
Do we think that the people are logged on that maybe sent in the songs? Do they know?
Oh, yeah, they should be.
Great. Good. So they'll know their song title.
Yeah, and sometimes they out themselves in the chat room and say, "Hey, that's mine," you know.
Okay.
They usually do it after they get a positive response.
Just remember that you play your song for 10 people, you're going to get 10 opinions.
That's right.
You play it for 100 people, 100 opinions, that kind of thing. So I think that Taxi, speaking for what they do, the thing that impresses me the most about Taxi is to not give criticism, but to give help. And I hope that people don't ever take any of this as criticism, because I have seen many, many things that a lot of things that I've done that people have said, oh my gosh, that's horrible. This isn't going to work. Why are you doing it? Blah, blah, blah. And that can be the biggest thing ever. So the thing that Taxi does is they try to help. They try to, give you ideas, give you a little assistance here and there. That's all we're trying to do here is not to criticize, but rather to say, it's really good. Here's an idea that maybe is something for you to consider that might be a little bit of help. So
and we have to do it in about 3 minutes in each one.
Okay,
there
here
we have a bunch of them we got to do. So the first one is called Alive. It's alive.
Everything you do makes me feel like the sun is shining. Can't stop smiling. Everything you do makes me feel alive. Everything you say, it's my heart racing, so amazing. Everything you say makes me feel alive. Stop smiling. Oh my darling, everything you are starts my fire, such desire. Everything you are.
So, very, very cool. Is this person online? Is it possible?
Well, we don't want to force themselves to.
No. Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. Well, I just thought I might know this person. But be that as it may, I think it's really cool. I think the whole idea is great. The it's a bit obviously a bit reggae-ish and that kind of thing. So by the time you get to Can't Stop Smiling, you could put a kind of a little skanky guitar in. It's kind of indicated, but you might do that to give it a little bit of a lift. I would build it a little bit slower. I don't know that I would have as much come in where you have everything you say gets my heart racing. I maybe would build it a little slower, so that by the time you get to I think Waiting for the Day we've joined in would be the same spot. Then you have that stuff come in. But gosh, it sounds really good. This is something we got to talk about. So I hear a good song, and you guys have written a good song, and now what do you do with it? And I'm sure you've seen on some of these songs that are hits, there's not one writer or 3 writers or 5 writers. There's like 9. There's like 11. And, everybody that happens to be standing around seems to be a songwriter. Well, and I mean that not in a disrespectful way. It just seems...
I did the hi-hat.
Exactly. It seems a little excessive. So, you get something like this, and what you really want to do is you want to connect with an artist that, maybe isn't a giant artist right this second, but could be. And I think you'd have a better chance getting your song recorded. Now, how do you find that artist? Well, they're all over the internet. The
Taxi forum and the Collaboration Corner
is like the perfect place to go. And what you want to do is you want to connect this song to someone that stylistically is in this vein or something, pop, and but I mean, this has melody, this has words and stuff. I mean, geez.
Am I crazy to think
really
that
like
if you were music supervising,
I would put this in a movie instantly.
And
the
one
way
of
it
the
is
scenes
right
is, like Couples Retreat or one of those movies, and they need something playing when the couples are hanging out by the pool drinking margaritas.
Couples Retreat is a perfect example. This could have been played when they got off the boat at the outlet. It's perfect.
So you've watched it 4 times too?
I've watched it literally 100 times. It's one of the funniest movies.
It is a very cute movie.
So the it's great. It's really great, and if I had the appropriate movie right this second, or one comes up, I would not hesitate to put this in, just the demo you have. I'm just talking about as a record now, about building it a little slower and that kind of thing. But it's really good, so I like it.
Background vocals, really good job on
Oh
this.
yeah, really nice, and the singer's nice. Everything about it is good.
All right.
I like it.
Moving on. This one's called "You Let Me Down." Very Manilow.
My feet are cemented to this ground. I am fragmented and unrepented, misrepresented. You make no sound. I don't know where I am in here. Am I holding you up or am I holding on? I can't believe those things you didn't do. Shame on you.
Okay, very interesting, very dramatic, almost a modern, who's that guy that did Total Eclipse of the Heart and all? Steinman?
Oh, yeah.
Almost a Jim Steinman kind of thing.
Very good.
So a couple of comments that are more mechanical than they are creative. Number one, no one will get past your intro. It's way, way too long. It's very interesting, it's very dramatic, but unfortunately, it's way too long. You got to cut that down like by 2/3. It's I'm sorry to say, because I know that you're thinking about it, setting up the song and the emotion and all.
You're helping.
Well, anyway, it just seems too long. Okay. Now, also more mechanical. The B section, I don't know where I am in here. Am I holding you up or am I holding you on? I think that by the time you get to or am I holding on, and I realize that harmonically it's not the same as Shame on You, somehow I would reduce that. I would make that more condensed. I don't know where I am in here. Am I holding you up or am I holding on? Shame on you. I know that's not going to necessarily work, but I would make that shorter. Also, It's All Gone Wrong. What you going to say? You do it twice. I would take out one of those. This is again the mechanics of it, and I know it sounds like I'm just taking a knife to this, but the sections are just too long. And if you were to say to somebody, oh, wait, but when you get to the next thing, it's really great, no one will wait around to get to the next thing.
And it's hard to be objective looking at your own thing to notice things like I've spent too much time on this spot.
And it's, but that section, It's All Gone Wrong, is the same thing. So I would take out one of those. Also, I'm not certain about this, but I think you really only do I am tormented, I've been emptied, that kind of thing. And then you don't do I am fragmented and unrepentant. I would just go verse, B section, and then you have this kind of, I guess it's kind of a pre-chorus. It's all gone wrong. And then you have the you let me down not being around when I needed you. I think that if you condense that together, it would even be more dramatic because the things would kind of hit you in the gut, back and forth. And but it's a very interesting song, and the whole presentation is very interesting. I'm always just continually amazed at the creativity of the Taxi people. I mean, this is another whole kind of thing, obviously, than the first song. But very creative as well. In the right movie or placement, this would be interesting too, obviously. I'm not sure how this gets on the radio, but it can get on streaming because there's much more avenue for that than there is on the radio. And quite frankly, the streaming can be probably more profitable anyway. So it's really good, and most of the comments are really just kind of mechanical of making this a little more concise, getting to the point a little quicker.
Michael is a shareholder in Curb Records and knows about country music, has spent a lot of time in Nashville. If I was sitting there listening to this going, if I took this to Nashville and played it for any of my friends down there, they are incredibly picky about lyrics in Nashville, and they would be
I know you're going to say emptied.
Well, no, they would go, who are you talking to? You don't define the person. There's no beginning, middle, end of the story, things like that.
He's obviously talking about some person, right?
Right.
So he's tormented, but if you were really picky about this, tormented and emptied, you try to pronounce it like it's emptied, but that doesn't work. If someone was really picky on rhymes, I'm tormented. I'm cemented. That's good. Tormented, but emptied is a little stretch. But getting past that, I kind of get it. I kind of understand the thing. That he is tormented, blah blah blah. And what are you going to say about it? Who are you going to pray to? You let me down. So I think that it's not. It's a little esoteric, but not too bad. I didn't mind it so much. And generally, I kind of fall into that category of, who are you talking to?
Right.
Kind of thing. I kind of got this for some reason.
And ironically, this song is called You Let Me Down, and the next song we're going to hear is called Can't Hold Me Down. So this is the flip side.
This is You Can't Hold Me Down. You can't. Anyway, a good song.
Know it was there, but I haven't felt it till now. With glass ceiling and invisible barrier, it holds me down. It holds me down. As I sing, I won't go without a fight. It only takes one dreamer for a spark to take in light. Can't hold me down. I will rise. Can't push me down. I will fight. Can't put me out.
Another good song. Just interestingly enough, these 3 songs have been written, each song, one person. Believe it or not, one person can write a song, not 11.
Right.
Doesn't take 11. Could be 1. Could be. Another very dramatic, interesting song. Nice abbreviated introduction, I think, is important. The only real comment I have, I think it's very interesting. I think it's kind of like there's nothing really to talk about. The only thing I would say is in the pre-chorus you talk about fight and light, and in the chorus you use the same words. So I would consider trying to find something, that's going to rhyme. If you're trying to rhyme rise and fight and light and rise, I would rhyme rise and try to find something that's not fight and light and put another word in each one of those spots to change it up a little bit. I don't think you want to go back and say fight and light again. And you do it in the second pre and then the chorus there too. So I would consider thinking about that and if there's anything that, comes to mind. But I think it's kind of cool. I wonder what the song is about. What do you think? Is it about? Is it?
Clearly my take on a female empowerment song.
I think so too.
Gee, it might be.
Yeah,
and
I think so
the whole
too.
time I was listening to it, I'm thinking we run listings for female empowerment stuff, but it's usually more like girls' night out. You know, upbeat, this is
like
trailer.
This is good. This is like trailer music.
Yeah, superhero.
And, yeah,
trailer,
absolutely,
dark,
absolutely. But you don't get the feeling. You don't get hit in the head with it being girl empowerment.
Right.
You get this feeling of person involvement. Of there's a real person involved, and so yes, it's empowerment, but it's an empowerment. It could be for anybody. When you say glass ceiling, of course that comes to mind as something, but nonetheless, I think it's important in the song to have that, and I think it's important to be stating that. And I like the Only Takes One Dreamer. I like it. I think and for a trailer or something, it would be great. And it's not Billie Eilish particularly, but it's
got a little bit of that darkness.
It kind of has that thing in it, which is cool.
Yeah.
And it's put together well. It's really good.
Good job.
Yeah. Gosh, here's another one. One person. They're all one person.
That's amazing.
Jeez, I didn't know those people existed.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
And of course, if they got hooked up with a record company, then they would add 9 more people.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, we need somebody to come in and do the hi-hat.
Yeah.
All right, next one is called Love and Peace.
Wish you snow-covered branches for Christmas, bright twinkle lights, soft mistletoe kisses. I wish you candy cane dreams, sweet sugar plum seeds, but most of all I wish you love and peace. Packages delivered by your sweetheart, cookies baked with cinnamon and cloves, a crackling fire to keep you warm, a loved one snuggled in your arms, hot cocoa with whipped cream on your nose. I wish you fun and fast, comfort and ease. I wish all the best to your family, but mostly I wish you love and peace.
Cool. Okay.
I wish
Okay. Let's start off by saying that Christmas songs, in the general, are difficult to get cut. They want to hear
On the record side.
on the record side. They want to hear on the record side. They want to hear familiar Christmas songs, if you're a giant superstar, sometimes a record will stick. As I was listening to this, I was trying to think of who that would be, the last one that had a new song that stuck, and I keep thinking of Mariah Carey.
So did I.
But, there just aren't a lot.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot.
Everybody tries. And the reason they try is because they're evergreen. If they come back.
If they ever can get one. It's difficult. Now, for a Lifetime movie where they do like 28 Days of Christmas or something, they have new movie, they're looking for things.
We get listings. We've had so many listings for Lifetime and Hallmark
I've
channels.
done a bunch, and Hallmark too. I've done a bunch of those Lifetime movies. So it starts out, I wish you snow-covered branches for Christmas, bride, I wish you candy cane during sweet scenes, but most of all, I wish you love and peace. I wouldn't put that there. I would put some other line, because when you get to the second verse, package is delivered by your sweetheart, cookies baked with cinnamon and cloves, blah, 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 a loved one snuggle in your arms, and you don't say the love and peace thing on the second one, but I think you give it away. So I wouldn't put that in the end of the first. I wouldn't put it at the end of the second, which you don't have anyway. And then you've got the bridge or chorus or whatever you'd call that, and that's where you put it, and it works there for me. Now, if you're talking about pitching this to a Lifetime film or something of that sort, I don't think you can. You might have to direct it more towards what probably is happening in the movie. There's some kind of relationship. Either they've had a falling out. Which is a good
assumption, right?
Yeah, they've had a falling out. They're coming back together at Christmas. Something, or she's meeting someone new at Christmas. Something's happening. So you'd need to take things out where it sounds like a long laundry list. Packages delivered by your sweetheart. Sweetheart is the word that's the problem. Packages delivered something else. And a loved one snuggled in your arms is just a little too uptown, a little too adult. You need a more clever line there. And I wish all the best to your family. This is like a Hallmark greeting card as opposed to a song that's supporting a video image of something, a story. So it's a few of those kind of lines that make it more difficult for this just to be slotted in. And it's unlikely that they're going to have the time or thought process to say, oh, it's a really good song, but maybe we can instruct them how to change it to make it work for this. So Diane Warren is just an absolute genius at making songs that fit emotional circumstances in movies. She just is brilliant. So, but they're kind of general in order to fit into the movie. Now, sometimes she's obviously writing it for the movie, and so she knows what's happening. But sometimes she's just pitching it. So I would consider going through here and being very, very smart about how you're going to deliver this for a placement. I think that you'd have better luck as a placement than as a record, but I think even if you direct this more for a placement, it can be better for a record. So give it some thought, but it's very cute. The whole idea is good. The singer, I think, sounds good.
I love it texturally and emotionally. It's just warm and fuzzy.
It is. It's really nice, and it's hard to do that with Christmas songs. And by the way, I've recorded. You can't imagine how many Christmas songs. I mean, just
I can imagine
tons and tons and tons over the years. And fortunately, some of them have been big hits. But it's to give you some idea of how they've been big hits. So Kimberley, Locke, American Idol many years ago. We put out a Christmas. She didn't want to do a Christmas record. I do a Christmas record. Up on the housetop, reindeer palms. Right, every little kid sings that song. Okay, well, we did it kind of reggae-ish, and it was number one the entire Christmas season.
Rasta reindeers.
Yeah, Rasta. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it was number one for 4 weeks, the whole Christmas time, and you couldn't get away from it. And then the next year, she didn't have a record ready, or at the time, so I said, well, let's do another Christmas record. So it was Jingle Bells, a song we've heard before.
Yeah.
We've heard this song before.
A couple times.
What happens? It goes to number one, and the Beach Boys are singing background on it. Goes to number one. Sounds like a Beach Boy record. Okay? The third year, this is 1, 2, 3 right in a row. Frosty the Snowman. We've heard that song before. This is why I'm saying all of these songs are famous songs.
Right.
Frosty the Snowman. It goes to number one. She's the first artist in history to ever have a Christmas song number one 3 years in a row. Yeah.
Wow.
So there is that you have to battle, which is this familiarity. But it's a very cool little song. Think about these changes to make it maybe more desirable for a placement. That's all.
Yeah, I was going to say something, but I won't.
Okay.
I'm going to give this to Bria to hang on to. And we are now moving on to number 5, and this
sounds like a country song.
Put a Bar in the Back of My Car.
It sounds like a country song. Somehow. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel good about it.
It's a great title.
Yeah, it is.
Bar in the Back of My Car.
Yep.
Play it.
I'm right.
Change my mind, things of the past fall behind. Head on down a new highway, looking for a brighter day. All the changes I went through, trying to forget about you. Little tricks my mind would play to keep those thoughts of you at bay. Now I finally found a way to escape thinking thoughts that got me in this shape. I'm gonna back of my car, drive myself a drink.
What a great line.
I may not get too far, but I won't have to think. Put a bar in the back of my car, drive myself to drink. Put a bar in the back of my car, drive myself to drink.
Great, cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. That is a great line. Put a bar in the back of my car and drive myself to drink. That's a great
genius
line.
right there.
It's a great line. So, as we all know, country music is going through a lot of changes, and Florida Georgia Line, Jason Aldean, different guys out there. Not everybody, but a lot. It's all, real programmed and real, almost sounds like pop music with kind of a accent.
Hip hop.
Yeah.
There's that.
There is that. So now there are guys like Dan and Shay, yeah, I think they had a song out, a couple of songs, Tequila and Breathless. They sound like pop records.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great. I mean, I take nothing away from it. They're great. This being a little more traditional has to find a path to the right artist that's out there doing it. But the line is fantastic. And the only thing I would suggest is I'm going to put a bar in the back of my car and drive myself to drink. I may not get too far, but I won't have to think. This line here, I would make this new words. Put a bar in the back of my car and drive myself to drink. I'd make that something else that has a drink rhyme at the end, and then put a bar in the back of my car and drive myself to drink, because you're beating that over the head too much. You say it at the beginning of the chorus, which is great, and for that line, the second to the last line, make that different, and then go back to what you have. That I just think it makes it more powerful.
His breath stinks.
Michael always comes up with world-class ideas. See, that's the thing.
I do. I've got a special
so
talent.
Inspiring.
Yeah, honestly, I think that this song is a diamond in the rough, and that this gentleman would be well served to write with a pro writer from Nashville who'd want to jump on the train. This would be a good co-write song because the bones are there.
Yeah,
and the idea is so solid. That line,
it's great. It's great, and the demo needs to be made a little bit more appropriate for today's country, whatever that is, and you find that out by researching and listening to the songs that are the hits, that are the top 10 right now, and see the ones coming up that are going to be the next top 10, and not to imitate, but rather to see what would be complementary and might be an influence. So that gives you a better way to position this demo, because they are fairly demo dependent. They want to hear something that's going to be kind of right up the alley of what they're looking for.
Nashville's demos have gotten so good that
no.
even these smaller, less famous demo mills in Nashville are cranking stuff out.
Great,
Sounds
great
like
stuff,
records.
great stuff.
Amazing.
So, but it's a great line. Congratulations, great line. Good stuff.
Yep.
All these songs, all 5 of these, very different one from the other. Very, very good though. Okay, you pronounce that.
I can't pronounce it. This next one's called Alnilam, Alnilam. So before we hear note 1, do you have a comment, sir?
Well, I think that you'd if this is a name, where am we seeing? Oh no, in the sky. I don't know if this is a person or something.
There's something that's supposed to be giving it away at the end, the very last line.
Yeah, shine on. Well, it may be that word is not quite as attractive.
Alnilam.
Well, we'll hear in a second.
Okay.
It is a difficult. It's a little bit of a difficult thing to attach onto.
All right, let's have a listen, please.
Okay. Okay, so we didn't get to the title, so I don't know if it's absolutely critical it be that word or not, but because it doesn't really come in until...
I kind of wanted to hear it. We may have to go to the end of the song. I want to hear how it's pronounced.
Yeah, it's again, a couple of mechanical things. I have dreams every now and then. Okay, fine. Much like this one, and you go back to that introduction. I wouldn't do that. I would go much like this one, beat, whatever, go right into the When I Wake, and I Wake, I Recall. I'd go right into it. Also, I think the introduction is too long. Again, I would cut that in half. And it's okay to have that little introduction motif right before the "Oh, and I remember you, you were there too." I would only do it once, and then go to your large like moons, Orion string of pearls. I'm just editing these things more for listener, and also, this is something else that's important to note. Songs have gotten shorter. They are much shorter.
Absolutely.
So it's something for everyone to remember that it's gone back to like 1961 or something.
Yeah, there are songs out there like
2.5 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes 38 seconds.
Right, absolutely.
Mind-blowingly
so
short.
there are a lot of songs that are shorter. So you got to consider that because it's a thing. It's not like a little bit of a thing. It's a thing.
Freebird ain't happening anymore.
No, so it's important to consider.
Freebird, yeah.
But it's a very interesting song. I think that I would like to have a lyric that's just a little bit more compelling. This is a little bit it's a little vague. I have dreams every now and then that feel like memories. that's a good thing. People talk about stuff like that. But then I find myself walking in a world much like this one. Well, okay, but what happens then? When I wake up, I recall running through the dunes, pale saffron light of an alien sun. Well, then it doesn't really feel like this one. Mm-hmm. So there's a little bit of a disconnect to me emotionally. I like the way it sounds, and sometimes they don't need to make sense. But
it's more like poetry, you know, in the pale saffron light of an alien sun. It is beautiful.
It is.
But
I think if you could apply that poetic approach to some words that developed, I have dreams every now and then that feel like memories. I think if you had something that, if that's your lead-off line, then you might want to develop those a little. That thought.
Stevie Nicks is one of the greatest songwriters for taking stream of consciousness, kind of ethereal stuff, and turning it into pop song structure.
Yeah.
So that might not be a bad idea to study how she would approach that.
But it's interesting. It's an interesting approach. A nice dramatic sound. So anyway, those are. Just
I
thoughts.
actually loved her voice.
The voice is interesting.
Tons of potential in her voice. Yeah. There's one part of the song scared me a little bit. It felt like when she goes double time, it felt like 99 balloons.
I know it. I'm not certain that. I didn't want to comment on that because it seemed like the style of the song. But I'm not certain that. Oh, I know there is something. No, I forgot something. It sounds busy. It sounds too frantic
when it gets to the double time.
To the double time spot.
But melodically, I mean, I felt like it was way too close to 99 balloons.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't feel that. I didn't notice. But it's too crowded. It sounds nervous.
Yeah.
I think that you could
sounds nervous.
take a lot of that stuff out. Take a lot of that stuff out and just have the rhythm and the feel. You know, get some kind of maybe a loopy, that kind of helps that along. But,
find the core of the whole thing.
But it just seemed a little busy, and the mix had everything kind of up in front, guitars and everything. Mm-hmm. So that took away from the song for me.
Okay, moving on. Next one, number 7, is called Any Old Chair. It's a good title.
Today I was drifting back to when I was a child. Mama would rock me, sometimes just hold me a while. I can still feel her heartbeat and hear her voice echo in there. I remember the smell of her hair, together in any old chair, singing lullaby, my little one, close your sleepy eyes, lullaby, my pretty one, lullaby. To tell me.
Very cool.
I'm curious to see what you're going to say.
Well, I'd call the song Lullaby, number 1. And, to me, anyway, I would definitely call the song Lullaby. And she has a perfect voice for this. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's almost... that kind of folky Americana-ish country, right? Now, what was it? Jewel. Jewel was the name of the girl that did some things, not like this, but girl singer things, playing the guitar, that weren't country. But eventually she did do some country stuff too. So I think that depending on how this is presented, right now, with an acoustic guitar, finger picking and stuff like that, it is going to send most record people into a country mindset. It doesn't mean that she is country, but they kind of are going to go that way. I mean, this would be another good one for a placement in one of those Lifetime,
absolutely
Hallmark kind of movies. It's really good, and it's very sweet sounding. It's just a great. It's warm. You get attracted to it.
Absolutely. As soon as it started to play, I thought Lifetime, Hallmark Channel. It seemed so obvious, and then I thought, ooh, needs a cello brought in here, which might be a little bit predictable, but it would work. But then I had a thought about the lyric. It tells a story, a very specific story about her relationship and her memories with her mom, but yet it doesn't get, it still has that universal lyric. It could work in the context of getting placed in a movie of the week because it doesn't get so specific.
Well, and these kind of songs I have always referred to as progressive songs because they start out, here I am with my mama. Then I never imagined, one day I would have that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the last verse is, here I am with my first child.
Mm-hmm.
It's a progression, right, through the thing. So, I did a record with Judd Strunk called Daisy a Day, a long time ago, it's 100 years ago.
Okay.
And it started out with this guy, has a girl in school, and he brings her a daisy a day, right?
Okay.
And they fall in love, they get married, and I brought her a daisy a day. She passes away. He goes up to the hill to bring her a daisy a day.
Aww.
I mean, it's just a sweet song. And there's a lot of songs like that historically,
Yeah.
progressive songs. So, but this is very cute, very, very interesting. And, as we're talking, rather than together in any old chair, I would make that chair something special. I'd make that part of the continuation of the line. It's our old chair. Or something, or where it becomes that chair, it just keeps going along.
Right, let's see the visual in
Yeah.
our minds of the chair.
Keeps going along, not just any old chair.
Right.
It's a special chair. It's this chair. So, I mean, it's not, and if you change the title to Lullaby, it doesn't matter. So, but it seems clear that it's Lullaby to me, which is a cool title.
We could call it Archie Bunker's chair.
Again, I'm sorry. There's literally no...
You
no
can't take
filtering
it out in
mechanism.
public.
There's no filtering mechanism. This is all.
This
But anyway, it's really
this
good.
is very tender.
Yeah,
I really like this one.
Yep. All of these just for totally different, but all really good.
All right. The next one is called Abby Lynn.
Once upon a time I held the world's most precious diamond in my hand, but I wandered and I squandered. Things didn't work out quite the way that I planned. Now I'm feeling shame, I've left the game. I'll take the blame for the mess that I create. Evelyn, forgive my sins, I'll win you back. I hope it's not too late. You emanate like incense, like a lava lamp that glows in a darkened room. You swirl like the breeze on a summer day. Your love unfolds like a tiger lily's bloom. Well, I was so enchanted, but I took it all for granted like a fool. Stirring up noise with the boys, getting drunk and playing too much pool. I stumbled, I got humbled, now I'm begging you to accept my apologies. I fell with force from a high horse. Now all I can do is get down on my knees. Abby, please.
Okay. It's a very interesting personal story.
Mm-hmm.
And I would move the second verse. You emanate like incense. I hope it's not too late. Chorus. And then you go, you emanate like incense. And then another chorus.
I didn't understand what you mean.
I would, he has two verses right in a row.
Right.
I would put the chorus in between.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Get to the hook quicker. And, I'm guessing that the songwriter is singing.
Okay.
But if there was somebody, to me, it just obviously sounds like it could be Dylan-esque.
Mm-hmm.
and it just needs to have a little bit more of a singer singing it, and Dylan comes to mind only because he had that kind of storytelling voice, right? And if that was here, I think that it would help a lot. Sometimes the presentation and the singer, as you know, is a big deal.
Yeah, Springsteen does that well too.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Same idea, same thing. Maybe that's a better description. And because I was just trying to think of what could this be, and I'm not criticizing the singer. It's just that you want to have the best presentation that you can.
Take it to the next level.
So, and that's not easy to find. I mean, that person may not exist in his circle, right? But maybe it does if you get out there and look for it. Some guy that's singing with the band, or who knows what.
Go to forums.taxi.com and
Yeah,
look in
okay.
Collaboration Corner and say,
well, there it
anybody
is.
got a storytelling voice?
A storytelling voice.
Yeah.
And
because it's a good song title for country right there.
Yeah.
So all about Grandpa and his storytelling voice.
Yeah, there you go. But it's a very interesting thing, and I love the personal approach to it. And I screwed up, take me back. I mean, obviously there's been songs like that before, but you can't get too many of them because we all do that thing. Not me, but I mean, I've heard other people do.
I love some of the lyric craft in here.
Yeah, I do too.
It's not typical lyric craft, but really, really well done. Like, you emanate like incense, like a lava lamp that glows in a darkened room. Gives you, hits two of your sentences, right? Or two of your senses. You swirl like a breeze on a summer day. Your love unfolds like a tiger lily's bloom.
I love
That's
it.
really
I
good.
like it. No, I like it.
So Michael has to depart.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'll do this again. I'll do it at Taxi. I'll do it on the street corner.
At the Road Rally, November 7th through the 11th.
Yeah, no.
And rumor has it that he's going to give neck rubs while doing them this year.
No. It was just kind of the opposite.
They're
gonna, if you want to get your song listened to and commented on,
right.
as I
get your
listen
thumbs
to your song,
ready.
Exactly.
We have a Taxi member. I won't say her name on air, but she is a masseuse. And she hasn't been to
I love her songs. When's she coming?
She hasn't been to the last two road rallies. Her name is Ragani, and she's a lovely person.
Oh.
Everybody who knows her loves her. Every year at the end of the rally, she comes and grabs me, drags me off to a couch or a chair somewhere in the lobby, and does like a half an hour massage.
Does anyone care about that? No one cares about that.
It's amazing.
I want that to happen, in a kind of very selfish way. I mean, geez. Yeah, it's amazing. Guys, thank you. I'm happy to see you. Grateful you're all out there. I love the songs I have. I'm going to get me all of these.
I will.
Yeah, I mean, these are really a lot of good songs, all right in a row.
Bria, can you disc those over
really,
to
really, really
Michael,
good. So thank
tomorrow?
you guys for taking time out to send in your songs, and of course taking time out of your day to come and listen to us talk about them. And again, it's just an encouragement to hear these great tunes. And I'm not kidding when I say it just shocks me that there aren't 11 writers on each one of these. I mean, it really speaks to your talent and to the talent that you've been able to, get help from Taxi on and get comments on. This is a team effort. I say this all the time about not just Taxi, but everything. This is a team effort. So I'm grateful to be helping on the Taxi team as a water boy, and it's all great. So thank you for having me.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Michael Lloyd, ladies
Yay,
and
guys.
gentlemen. Yeah, take a water for the road. Send Patty my love. Bye. Bye, Michael. Thank you. Well, all right. I think we have enough left that I will save them for his return visit next time, because you guys submitted hoping that he would do them. He's got X-ray vision. So let me angle the camera over a little bit. How's that? Not bad. And we could do a little Q&A, or we could just have a short episode today. You guys call it. I'll go any way you want. I had about 3.5 hours of sleep last night, so I'm a little dingy. You might not get the right answers out of me, but I will answer them if you want. We could talk about I want to hear, you know what? I would love to hear your ideas about things that would make great panels for the Road Rally. I was here yesterday for 8 hours, and part of the time I was working on Road Rally panels. every year we have listening panels where, film and TV listening panels. We have record listening panels where record people and publishers listen to stuff, whole different perspective. Couple other things I don't want to mention, things that I'm trying to make happen, and I think that they will, but I can't guarantee it, so I don't want to get any hopes up. Tom Hip says, I think Michael should get to leave and go relax. Vintage recordings. Okay, I will confess, Linda Cullum, that one of the panels that I'm 98% sure is going to happen is vintage. We did this about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was really surprising to the people in the audience when I played them stuff that was really well executed, recent recordings that were made to sound vintage, and everybody's like, yeah, it's impossible to tell. And then we played something that actually was vintage. It's like, oh, that couldn't be more obvious. So I have not one, but 2 people who I believe will be at the Road Rally that are world-class experts on vintage. And so I'm 98% sure that we're going to do a vintage thing. IWD Storyteller says, you worked with Jack Adams. I did, in fact, work with Jack Adams. And I do have your phone message somewhere buried in this pile of stuff on my desk. If you want to know why I haven't called you back yet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 unanswered phone calls that have stacked up since Wednesday afternoon. So I'm sorry. And yours has been there since last Monday or Tuesday. Yes, I've worked with Jack Adams. Great guy. We had lots of fun together, and he taught me a lot, and I am grateful for that. Panel on interpreting the listings properly. How do you guys feel about that? I like that idea. We've done taxi TVs about it. Come on, let's see some plus ones if you like. What?
I have some that I.
Oh, okay. Bree's got some.
Film directors, record labels talking about what they need.
Film directors is one thing, and then record.
I think so. They wrote both of them, but.
Oh, okay. Film directors may or may not choose the music. It's hard to say. Sometimes the music supervisor puts stuff under the nose of the producer. Sometimes it's the director. It depends if the director is the writer-director and they've got a very clear vision. Some directors are more technical storytellers and they may not pick the music. So I will tell you that one of the things that I'm working on for this year is getting some independent filmmakers that are all-in-ones, where they are the writer, producer, director, all in one, and they're working on either small-budget films or micro-budget films, where we've started getting a lot more of those people coming to Taxi, and they are so tickled pink with the results they get from the music that we send them. But here's the thing. Those people are literally clueless. They think, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way, although it sure sounded like it, didn't it? They really don't know much about music, about the process of getting music, I should say, for their films. And so many of them, I mean, I would venture to say that 90% of all indie filmmakers think that that they need royalty-free music. Royalty-free just rolls off their lips. I see this all the time on forums where indie filmmakers congregate. I see it in magazines. I see it in blogs. And so I've reached out to some of these people who I've read their articles in magazines. I've seen them in blogs. And I've literally tracked them down and called them and said, why do you think you need royalty-free music? And they say, well, because I don't want to have to start paying royalties to the songwriters. they don't understand that ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, the performing rights organizations, pay the royalties. And they go, oh, really? So I could dramatically improve the quality of the music that I get from my films? Yeah. So I'm trying to find an organization that is, I know what the organizations are, that have kind of like Taxi for filmmakers, okay? And I want to invite those filmmakers to join us for a panel where we get the filmmakers and the music supervisors and probably a music attorney or a publisher up there and talk about how they pick music, their mindset, how it's different from major filmmakers working on big budget films, and why they think they're just constrained to using royalty-free music only. Next one up.
Speed critiques.
Speed critiques. We did some speed critiques at the end of Robin's thing last year in the Grand Ballroom. I don't know if possibly. I got to think about that. You know, for somebody to get on a plane and fly out here and get like a 30-second shoot from the hip critique, I don't know. I don't know. I have mixed emotions. How do you guys feel about it?
Well, we also have a lot of classes where they do critiques.
Right. We do have a lot of classes where people do critiques, and you could just say, go faster. All right. What else you got, Bria?
Streaming, like streaming services.
I actually, God, you guys are picking all the stuff that I've already. Yes, I am putting together a panel about multiple streams of income. By the way, if you haven't checked out the current Taxi newsletter, go to taxi.com, go to the top menu, top navigation, and click on newsletter or news and read the article. Bria's going to post a link to it right now. I can hear little fingers clicking away over there. There was a great article that I got permission to reprint the current issue of the Taxi newsletter. It's complex. It's got a lot of diagrams. It's got a lot of lines and a lot of stuff in it. But it is the most comprehensive article I've seen about kind of where the money comes from. People are asking if Laurel Ostrander is coming back this year. I've had her 2 years in a row, and she did practically the same thing. Laurel is a high-end TV editor that used to be a story editor, so she brings a certain quality to her editing that maybe somebody who's more of a technical editor doesn't. I opened up the Road Rally with her last year because I was really pissed off, frankly. The year before, I knew how good she was going to be, and she exceeded my expectations. And we only had about 300 people in the ballroom when she was on stage in 2017. So I brought her back and put her in the front slot, the very beginning of the Road Rally. She was friggin' amazing. Not just good, not just great, but friggin' amazing. And she showed everybody live in real time how she would take a scene from a reality show, audition pieces of music for it, take the piece of music, edit the piece of music, lay it in, and make it work. And for anybody that was in the room for that, it was so obvious, it was so instructive on how to create cues that would get used more often, that if you were in that room, you were absolutely blessed with the keys to the kingdom. Anybody who wasn't in the room is standing in line behind you, honestly. And I'm not saying that in a mean way. It's just, it was that good. But I can't keep bringing her back every year to do the same thing. And there's frankly not a whole lot else we could do with her other than how do you use music in reality. Ann House says, no matter what Michael adds, the rally's always amazing. Thank you, everyone at Taxi, for offering us the opportunity to learn. You are welcome, Ann. Thank you for saying that. Can I do something on Taxi TV addressing faith-based music? Okay. The answer is I want to. I don't know if it'll be Taxi TV. It might actually be at the Road Rally. It's a relatively small portion, and I say relatively small portion of the Taxi member body that would be interested in that topic. and I try to pick things that have a broader appeal. I could do a breakout class about it. So there's somebody that I'm trying to get who is big in the secular world that also does faith-based stuff. And if this person will come to town, he has already said that he wants to. If we can work out the scheduling, my thinking is that I will have him on the stage in the Grand Ballroom to do something that is more secular and about his life and his career in the industry, and have him stick around and do a Christian songwriting, maybe a critiquing session or a writing, here's how to write Christian music. I don't know yet, but I'm trying to make that take shape. So I'm glad you guys are asking for stuff that I'm already on track for. Cow to create cues. Cow, like COW. I think Brewer Shuttles meant how to create cues. I know that we are going to do one panel in the Grand Ballroom on creating instrumentals for trailers. Very in-depth panel, and 2 of the 3 panelists are your fellow members who are just killing it. So I'm excited about that. Michael, do you know our friends up north, Jamie Warren, and have you played golf? Last time I played golf, sadly, was at the end of April with my dear friend Ralph Murphy. I might have been his last round of golf. Oh no, actually, a couple days or shortly thereafter, he stayed at our house and we golfed. He was going to Ireland with Paul Williams to play golf over there. So I wasn't officially his last round of golf before he sadly passed away. Bria, got anything else?
How to classify musical emotion?
How to classify musical emotion. I don't know that we could do a panel on that at the rally, but I have done a Taxi TV where we played Guess the Mood, I think it was called. Would you guys want to do another Taxi TV like that, where you send in your songs and we kind of take a vote amongst your fellow viewers as to what they think the mood or the emotion is? Is that something that would be helpful? What about Spanish Latin market focus? Not Latin music only, but all types for the Spanish market placement. Accessing that huge market. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Many years ago, we were going to open up a Latin division of Taxi. And we had a young lady who was musically talented on the staff. She was Hispanic. She had a good head on her shoulders, and I offered her the position of heading up that division in that effort. And she said, actually, I want to go pursue my own music career. I'm leaving Taxi. And within like 30 days, she opened up a company that was a dead ripoff of Taxi for the Latin market. And then like 5 years later, reached out to me and said, would you like to buy it? I'm done. And I said, no, I don't think so. So the Mood Show, Cass McKenty says the Mood Show is one of his faves. And I see a bunch of people voting +1. So can you please make a note that we should do a show about guessing that mood? And it's tough going for these. I want to cover as many little niche things as we can. So it's really hard every year to find stuff that has mass appeal to put in the ballroom, and then find the stuff that's nichey and put that in classes. Because I just won't put anybody in a classroom. We try really hard to pick people that have a reputation for being great teachers. And most of the time we succeed at that. There have been failures where people are more about plugging a product or something, and people come out of the classrooms feeling a little let down. Doesn't happen often, but it really upsets me. Like maybe 3% of the time we get that complaint. So if I'm going to go for something niche, I want to find somebody really quality to put in the room. So the answer is yes, I will do it when I can. Brewer Shettle says, get somebody from Spotify to talk about how streaming works. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a panel that talks about all that. Thank you, Gloria. Gloria Covington says, we appreciate that, Michael. All right. That all said, Steve Frisch says, just wanted to say that the Taxi Showcase looked and sounded great. Great talent. Thank you for showcasing. Honestly, I can take zero credit for that. That was Tom Stillwagon from the staff, Angela from the staff, Bria from the staff. These guys did it all. I literally had nothing to do with it other than like giving a tiny little bit of input on a couple things. And I was really happy with it. I wish we could do it at a bigger venue, although Kulak's does have a vibe, and their audio and video capabilities are really, really good, as you pointed out. But it's tough to get more than 50 people in that place. Alan Gilbert, Michael, how about a show for brand new beginners? How to submit? Is there a cost? How do you get feedback? There is, if you go to YouTube, and the first video at the top of the page when you go there is called Taxi 101. That covers a lot of that stuff. I've actually thought about doing a Taxi 101 thing at the Road Rally in the ballroom. I think there are a lot of people that join Taxi and don't really entirely understand how it works, what the value of Taxi is for you within the industry, and all those tips and stuff that I put in the Taxi 101 episode on YouTube. So that's something that I may do. I've actually got it written down. As a matter of fact, right before the show, when I was cleaning off my desk for today's episode, I found a Post-it note that said Taxi 101 RR, which means Road Rally Secret Code. Robbie Hancock says, really looking forward to the rally again this year, Michael. There's always something new to learn. I'm really looking forward to it, as always. Thank you, Robbie. I always love seeing you. I wish you and I could spend more time together. I only see Robbie once a year at the Road Rally. He's such a good guy. He did one of the great interviews for our passenger profile thing a couple of years ago, I think. Just amazing answers. When we're done with the show today, Google passenger profile Robbie Hancock and read, I think it was a 3-part thing. Read all 3 parts. You will learn so much. So much. Collaboration Cafe at the Road Rally. Every year we try and come up with some spectacular way for people to find collaborators. We thought about doing it digitally or electronically a few years ago. I can't remember how we were going to do that. We've talked about doing it very analog, and I've seen it done at smaller conventions this way, where we get a couple of giant cork boards, and I'm talking giant, like 8 feet wide, 4 feet high, and have 3x5 index cards and push pins, and people can just, put like Wyoming in big letters on a 3x5 index card looking for vocalist. The problem with that, even at the small venue that I was at, it was like a miniature road rally years ago, like 15 years ago, people were taking their stuff and push pinning it over other people's stuff, like, hey, look at me, and it really kind of defeated the purpose. So if anybody has a brilliant idea on how to execute a really efficient, cost-effective, easy-to-work methodology for creating on-site collaborations at the Road Rally, please send it to taxitv@taxi.com. That address, one more time, is taxitv@taxi.com. I would love to hear your ideas, because we have not solved that problem and we want to. We are going to do, I am having, Cass McKenty said Rob's making music live in the ballroom was a lot of fun. The people who joined Shirelli's last week, 2 weeks ago on Taxi TV, the Highfields, Nate and Kaylee Highfield, incredibly wonderful people, super talented. They did a thing last year that I had a lot of positive feedback about, and so I've talked to Shirley and I've talked to the Highfields about putting that on the main stage in the Grand Ballroom this year, and I will. And a lot of, it's really about their journey, how they were super talented, but not channeling their talent in the right direction and not finding a direction, maybe not taking a little direction. And then they had lunch with me. We went to lunch. I don't mean to pat myself on the back so hard that I break my hand in the process of doing it, but I could see on their faces when I said I gave them very specific instructions during that lunch, and that was a turning point. And frankly, they were not happy Taxi members. They were already working with Shirley. Rob had known Nate for a few years before, and they weren't getting forwards from Taxi. As magically talented as they are, they weren't really nailing what the industry wanted. And after our lunch, I think the light bulb over their head went on, and they went, oh, now we get it. And man, oh man, they are just killing it. And I mean killing it out there. Placements up the wazoo, really big placements, a lot of big commercials, doing really, really well. They are actually like super in demand in the world of advertising. So we're going to put them on the stage with Shirley moderating it, or being the three of them on stage, and I'll be out in the audience enjoying it with you guys, and I really look forward to it because they are spectacularly good people. Let's see. How about doing a show about the pros and cons of having CD Baby and TuneCore do your publishing? Libraries don't seem to want to touch you if you're using their publishing. Frankly, we've covered that topic several times. I don't think it's an entire show. And again, I won't say anything bad about either of those companies. They're not doing anything wrong or illegal or unethical. I don't think they make it clear enough that when people sign up to use their services and they go for like the pro level or whatever it's called, and they see a thing that says, would you like us to represent your music for film and TV? Check here. And people check the box and go, hey, guess what? I've got a publishing deal. Well, guess what? You do have a publishing deal. And that song is now signed to a publisher, which means that other publishers won't touch it. We find this happening all the time, and some Taxi members aren't aware of this. They submit their music to Taxi, it gets forwarded to a publisher for film and TV. The publisher reaches out, says, I love this, I want to put it in our catalog, only to find out that it was published already by CD Baby Pro or TuneCore or whatever. In some cases you can get out of the deal, some cases you can't. Paul House, question, rally booking info, where do we book?
I have responded.
You responded already? Okay, yeah. For those of you who aren't reading the chat, when you sign up for the Road Rally, you get an email that gives you the link to the hotel so you can book your rooms. People don't understand the basic principle of publishing, and there needs to be a class. There's so much that people don't understand. It always makes me wonder, like, if you want to be a real estate agent or a brain surgeon or a rocket scientist or a race car driver, almost any other specific endeavor that you want to do to earn a living and be good at it, you need to know stuff. And yet people in the creative fields, whether it's writing, like authoring books, or being a songwriter, or being a visual artist, so many people think that just your incredible desire to want to do it and your raw talent are so good that people will just hear your stuff and the pearly gates will magically open up for you, and everybody in the world will love your music and love you and just heap tons of praise and money and a private jet on you. And for that reason, they don't learn the nuts and bolts of how the business end of the industry works, and they think that because raw talent will make everything fall into place for them, that somebody will magically come along and say, I will manage you, and don't worry about all that dirty business stuff, I'll take care of it for you. No, it doesn't really work that way. It so rarely works that way, and if it does work that way, chances are the manager's going to rip you off because you didn't know anything about how the industry worked anyway. So yes, that stuff needs to be taught, but people need to actually show up. If there was a class upstairs at the Road Rally about get your songs critiqued by Michael Lloyd versus having Publishing 101, everything you need to know in the Grand Ballroom, Michael Lloyd would get far more people in his class than we would get in the ballroom. Why? Because people are just so incredibly desirous of getting their music heard, because they think if Michael Lloyd or somebody of that stature hears their song, that he's going to go, this is the greatest thing I've ever heard, let me put it in a movie or let me put it on a record, and the pearly gates will open up. So they will pass up the education to go for a tiny little shot at getting noticed. Yeah, I personally would prefer more technical workshops panels be added to the rally rather than beginner music industry stuff. Some people yes, some people no, and that's why we have breakout classes and lots of them, usually like 75 to 90 of them, and typically 15 to 18 panels in the Grand Ballroom. The panels are to appeal to mass audiences, and the breakouts are specific, so there you go. A class on collaboration, how to have a successful collab. I think that we covered that, but I will double check. I think we've covered that in past years. Okay. That's it. All right, you guys, remember, next Monday there is no Taxi TV. We are on hiatus, and we will be back the following week with the CEO of Discmakers, Mr. Tony Van Veen. Very close friend of mine and one of the smartest business people you will ever hear from. The guy is really, really smart and a really good guy. So with that, I bid you adieu. See you in 2 weeks. Hope you're having a lovely summer. Taxi TV signing off. Bye, you guys.